In this video, we're going to continue to troubleshoot fraction word problems. For those of you who had difficulty when we were analyzing fraction addition and fraction subtraction word problems, this might help. We're adding to our toolbox, so when we add multiplication, we have more ways of understanding. And in those problems that you solved, the ones that were not fraction addition and subtraction were sometimes solved by multiplication or a combination of multiplication and another operation. So maybe doing this will help solidify some of what was going on in those previous problems. What we're going to do is we're going to complete number 1 from class activity 5E, and then for your PCA, you'll do number 2. So we have a mulch word problem. Originally, there was 3/4 of a cubic yard of mulch in a mulch pile. Then 1/3 of the mulch in the mulch pile was removed. Now how much mulch is left in the mulch pile? Let's do this by drawing a picture. I have a harder time drawing volume, so a cubic yard is volume, so I'm going to represent this with an area model. So I'll draw a rectangle here to represent 1 cubic yard, and if I have 3/4 of a cubic yard, I'm going to try to break this into 4 equal parts, and then I'll shade 3 of them to represent my mulch pile. I'm duplicating this so we can work on the second part of the problem. 1/3 of the mulch in the mulch pile was removed. Well, when I look at my mulch pile, it's this green region, and if I want to remove 1/3, I'd need to break it into 3 equal parts, but fortunately, we have 3 equal parts, so I'm going to take this, and this will be 1/3 of the mulch in the pile is removed. Then by inspection here, what's left, I have these 2 green rows here, which is half of a cubic yard. So we have half of a cubic yard is going to be my answer. Now let's see how we can write this with our operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication. We're going to do this by writing out in words what we did and then translating to symbols. We had 3/4 of a cubic yard, and we removed 1/3 of the mulch in the pile. So I'm just writing down what I did. So just in one pile here. So then I'm going to see if I can put this a little more specifically. So I'm going to have 3/4 of a cubic yard removed. I took away, this is subtraction. I removed 1/3, but I didn't remove 1/3 of a cubic yard. I switched units. 1/3 of what? 1/3 of the mulch in the pile. What's the mulch in the pile? The mulch in the pile, oh goodness, the mulch in the pile was 3/4 of a cubic yard. So maybe I'll put in my units here. 3/4 of a cubic yard. I removed 1/3 of the mulch in the pile, which was 3/4 of a cubic yard. So I can simplify this a little bit and say this is 3/4 minus 1/3 of 3/4. Let's actually do this math so I can cancel out right here, and I end up with 3/4 minus 1/4 is 2/4, which is 1/2. And this was referring to a cubic yard, 1/3 of 3/4 of a cubic yard, and I'm left with half of a cubic yard right here. Does it make sense? Yeah, here's my 3/4 of a cubic yard. Taking away 1/3 of 3/4 means that I took away 1/4, and then I'm left with 2/4, which is equivalent to 1/2. So this is neither 1/3 times 3/4, nor 3/4 minus 1/3. We had 3/4 minus 1/3 of 3/4. So let's write a word problem that actually could be solved for each of these. We'll do one that's very similar. So let's start with the 1/3 times 3/4. So what would that one look like? One-third of 3/4 of a cubic yard. And what is this? This is the mulch in the pile. So we can take our problem and just reword it a little bit. We know the answer here is 1/4. This is referring to one of these bars. So what does this problem, what can we do with this? Originally, there was 3/4 of a cubic yard of mulch in a mulch pile. Then 1/3 of the mulch in the mulch pile was removed. That's the 1/3 of 3/4. Instead of asking how much mulch is left, I'm going to ask how much mulch was removed. So 1/3 of 3/4 is the mulch that was removed. So let's write that out. Originally, there was 3/4 of a cubic yard of mulch in a mulch pile. Then 1/3 of the mulch in the mulch pile was removed. How much mulch was removed? And that is our 1/3 of 3/4. All right, now to get subtraction, let's look at that one. We want 3/4 minus 1/3. We have our cubic yards, and we know that we need to have matching units for subtraction. So we're asking how many cubic yards remain. So here we have, originally there was 3/4 of a cubic yard of mulch in a mulch pile. Then 1/3 of a cubic yard, same units, was removed. How much mulch is left in the mulch pile? I started with 3/4. I'm going to remove 1/3 of a cubic yard, and then I'll see what's left. When I solve this problem, 3/4 of a cubic yard minus 1/3 of a cubic yard, I'm going to need that common denominator. So I'm going to break this up. So now I have 12, same cubic yard. Now I've just partitioned it differently, and I have 9/12, and I'm going to take away 4/12, and I'll be left with 5/12. And that's a cubic yard still. So subtle differences in the wording here, but very important for how we solve them. Keying in with a picture can often help us.